A multi-billion-dollar contract brought her, once a successful city elite, back to the island she hadn't set foot on in 20 years.
First time to the island?
No, but it's been a very long time.
Lawyer.
Oh, is that obvious?
Not everybody gets so dressed up to come on vacation.
After a brief conversation with the man, Laura returned to the cabin, brushing off his flirtatious remarks without a second thought. Soon, the ship arrived at its destination, and the man ran up again, eager to please.
Hi, how are you? So, have a good trip. And if you can, treat yourself to a pair of sandals. I hear they're much more comfortable than heels.
Thank you.
Oh, and if you need someone to take you around the island, we do offer guided tours.
But Laura was already feeling irritated. After a full day of travel, all she wanted was to get to her hotel and rest. But it wasn't until the man said these words.
You book at the front desk. Ask for Chip.
She never expected that the same man she found annoyingly frivolous would turn out to be the key figure her company was desperately trying to win over. 3 days ago, the chairman of a publicly listed company worth billions approached their law firm. He was none other than Chip's grandfather. To ensure his grandson would inherit the family fortune, Graham had already hired 6 top lawyers. Yet none could convince Chip to sign the contract. The reason he chose Laura wasn't just because of her professional skill. This was the real reason. Laura had been Chip's childhood friend, but when she left the island at the age of 12, they had both changed so much over the years that they didn't recognize each other when they first met again. Instead of revealing her identity immediately, Laura chose to return to the hotel first. Before she left, Fiona had reminded her countless times to complete Graham's request. Securing his support would elevate their law firm's standing in the entire industry. Fully aware of the weight of the task, Laura had already drafted a plan in her mind. She first visited her old friend Jem to ask what had happened to Chip after she left, then gathered information about what kind of person Chip had become. Learning that Chip hadn't changed much gave Laura peace of mind.
You two always had a thing for each other.
Oh, please, we were 12.
I know.
Perhaps by leveraging his childhood feelings toward her, she might complete this task with little effort. With the hopeful thought of a promotion and raise, Laura and Jem went to the place Chip most often visited.
Hey, Chip.
Hey! Oh, showing the legal around, are you, Jem?
Laura could clearly hear the sarcasm in his tone, and now that she knew he was the same Chip who had rejected 6 other lawyers, it was obvious that his initial approach wasn't flirtation at all. It was him toying with her. Laura didn't bother with small talk. She took the contract directly out of her bag.
Your grandfather is my client. He asked me to bring you this.
Haha. Well, that's too bad. Sorry I came all this way, but I have no interest in becoming the next CEO of Finley Developments.
You sure I can't convince you to just read it?
Look, I'm sure you're very good at what you do, but all those lawyers that my granddad sent over can't get me to even look at it. I'm afraid you're wasting your time. Thanks for coming.
She wasn't angry because Chip's reaction was exactly what she had expected. Still not revealing who she really was, she looked at the coconut toss bucket beside him and playfully challenged him to a bet. If she won, he would have to listen to the entire contract pitch, but if she lost, she would tear the contract to pieces in front of him. Chip smiled confidently, secretly pleased. How could someone from the big city possibly beat him at a game like this? But with every coconut Laura knocked down, Chip's smug smile faded into stunned disbelief. When the last coconut fell, Chip stood in shock, unable to believe what just happened.
The person that ever defeated me at this game is Laura? Laura Price?
Surprise!
Compared to seeing Laura again after 20 years, the loss of the game and the forced agreement to hear the contract terms no longer seemed to matter to him. Now living in 2 different worlds, Laura having achieved her dream and settled in a bustling city, while Chip remained on this island despite his fortune. Their reunion was bittersweet. They briefly shared updates on their lives, and when Chip learned that Laura already had a boyfriend, he couldn't help feeling a pang of disappointment. Not wanting to linger on the topic, Laura shifted the conversation and asked him about his dreams.
Got a side project that's important to me. I'm building homes for people who would otherwise not have a place to call home.
Right, so you are continuing the family trade.
Well, not exactly. It's a charity thing, so it doesn't exactly have the same profit margin as Finley Developments would like.
Laura finally understood the real reason why he had always refused to inherit the family business. Finley Development's vision completely contradicted Chip's. He was focused on helping the poor, while the company was all about profit. For such noble ideals and actions, Laura had no reason to keep pressuring him.
Well, I'll go arrange my flight home then.
Whoa, all right.
That evening, the island was hosting a community dinner, and many of the elders from their childhood memories would be there. Chip hoped Laura would come and see them. What he really meant was he wanted to ask her out, but didn't dare say it outright, so he used the elders as an excuse. For a moment, it felt like they'd returned to the innocent days of 20 years ago. In the end, Laura couldn't resist Chip's playful threat.
To the hotel and send some emails then if I'm going to make it to dinner.
You gonna come?
But this contract conversation is not over, Chip Finley.
By nightfall, Laura met those once familiar elders who, aside from aging faces, seemed unchanged. But Laura, the once mischievous and lively girl, was now dulled by the weight of adult life and relentless work, a fact the elders noticed with concern. After hearing the reason for her return, they expressed their helplessness but still hoped she would stay longer.
Doesn't want to be the CEO of his grandfather's billion-dollar business, so, going to have to cut my trip short.
Chip could read the message behind Laura's words, but he had held to his beliefs for years. He wouldn't change them just because he wanted her to stay. From that point on, things between them began to shift. The warmth of their reunion cooled, and a slight tension took its place.
Last night was so nice, and I really don't want her to go yet. She only just got here.
I'm sorry, Jim. I'm not signing my life away just so you can keep her here.
Chip criticized how Laura had changed, how her life was now consumed by work. And just as he was bad-mouthing her, Laura appeared behind him. Since playing the emotional card wasn't working, Laura tried a new angle, pretending to be thoughtful as she said the contract gave him significant freedom, and that becoming CEO could actually help his charity work like never before. When Chip remained unmoved, Laura subtly changed tactics.
I'm sorry. That would be a crazy amount of work, running a company and a charity.
What she really implied was that Chip wasn't capable of running the company. The provocation worked. Chip fired back, "Just because I know how to relax doesn't mean I can't work hard. I'm not a complete workaholic like you."
That is not true. Fun?
Really?
Yeah.
Like what?
Like I read books.
Ooh, books. Do you mean law books?
Yes.
He laughed without holding back, then teased, "When you remember how to have fun, I'll read the contract." It was meant as a joke. But Laura took it seriously, and once the words were spoken, there was no taking them back. That afternoon, just as Laura was in a work meeting with her colleague,
Ready?
Now's not a great time.
Oh, here I was thinking you wanted me to read that contract, but hey, if it's not a great time, then I guess...
Chip showed up with a blatant threat she couldn't ignore, and Laura had no choice but to give in. They went scuba diving together, admiring vibrant coral reefs, then dined by the seaside under the sun.
I read. You relax.
In the following days, similar surprise visits from Chip became frequent. They fished at the beach, rode horses under the setting sun, and talked non-stop. The tension that once existed between them had long since vanished. Then a sudden storm brought their connection to a whole new level. When they learned that rain was leaking into an elder's house, Laura, without being asked, offered to set aside her work to help. Without realizing it, the city-bred career woman had started to change. While Chip worked on the roof, Laura assisted by handing up tools. Admiring their finished work together, Laura's eyes sparkled with anticipation. When she learned that Chip had built this house, and many others like it, she couldn't help but say that such a charity project would surely be supported by Finley Developments, and that he could expand its reach by inheriting the company.
Company, you could do both.
I don't think anyone's ever tried so hard to convince me of something before.
Chip gave no reply, and they stepped inside the house, only to overhear a conversation between two elders.
Everyone did. He was never the same after she left.
And this is the living room and kitchen.
Their talk was cut short when the two unexpectedly walked in. After lunch, Chip was ready to get back to work.
I can help.
Ow.
Oh, hey, you all right?
Yeah, it's just a...
Oh, yeah, that is a doozy.
But then he suddenly decided to stop for the day and apologized. Back at the hotel, Chip got a medical kit and helped Laura treat a small wound. Out of the blue, Laura brought up a childhood memory. How Chip had once spent 3 months of his allowance to buy her a necklace, and how she buried it in a box to keep it safe. To remember where she hid it, she even drew a map.
I was gonna dig it up, get that necklace, and come find you in San Francisco.
Their eyes met without them noticing, and Laura's gaze gave him a surge of courage. He was just about to say everything he had kept hidden for years.
Laura!
When someone arrived, it was Laura's boyfriend, Owen. Not long ago, he had neglected Laura because of work, and they'd had a big fight. This time, he'd come to ask for her forgiveness. But his attention on Laura barely lasted 3 seconds, because he quickly recognized Chip. "Oh, CEO of Finley Developments? Do you have representation?" My firm's known for helping out big players. That's all." Right in front of Laura, he started pitching to Chip. But Fiona didn't just send Laura here to secure the inheritance contract. What she really wanted was a long-term partnership with Finley Developments. Just as Chip was about to excuse himself, Owen enthusiastically invited him to dinner. Chip called Jem to join them, but the atmosphere was noticeably awkward. It was Jem who broke the silence first, asking Owen when he planned to leave.
I don't think I could live here, though.
Oh, island life wouldn't work for you?
That's a little small for me.
Sensing Chip's displeasure, Owen quickly backpedaled, saying everyone has different preferences and that the island wasn't so bad after all, while he stepped outside to take a call.
He's not usually like this. I think he's jet-lagged or...
Jet lag, yeah. You know, I did realize something, though. You can't handle life on a small island, and I cannot be a corporate big shot.
Chip's next few words felt like a final verdict, declaring the failure of Laura's business trip. Laura immediately got up from the table and went to find her boyfriend, who was still outside on the phone. Owen had no idea the trouble his arrival had caused Laura. His work frustrations were written all over his face. He didn't ask why Laura had come out, and instead just vented his emotions. During her days on the island, Laura came to realize something important. Work isn't the essence of life. It's just one part of it. "I guess it took me being back here to realize who I truly am. I'm sorry." They had hurt each other time and time again because of work. But now, having reconnected with her true self, Laura could finally see the issues between them, clearly. Meanwhile, walking along the beach, Chip noticed a light on in the old warehouse. Inside was Graham, looking through the letters Chip had written to Laura as a child. Chip quietly closed the memory-filled box. Graham wasn't angry. He simply asked how things were going between his grandson and Laura. Still bothered by Laura's boyfriend, Chip dodged the question. Graham gently shifted the subject again, saying, "I wondered whether the two of you had hit it off again."
I wondered whether the two of you had hit it off again.
"You two are always so happy together." But Chip cut him off. Laura already had someone else, and no matter what he did, it would all be one-sided. He looked again at the contract, a document that could change anyone's life. And without hesitation, he tore it to pieces. With the contract gone, there was no longer any reason for Chip to stay close to Laura, just as he made up his mind to cut ties completely.
Laura and I have decided to take a break. An indefinite break.
He held back his laughter and offered some comforting words to Laura's ex-boyfriend. Meanwhile, Jem had been with Laura for 2 days, offering comfort and encouragement. Then one night, Chip finally came to find her.
"Would you want to come on a sunrise hike with me?"
With him taking the first step, the tension over the contract quickly dissolved. In the dim light of the woods, Laura opened up about how much her mindset had changed since arriving. At sunrise, Laura brought out a new version of the contract. After getting Graham's permission, she had made a few adjustments. If Chip truly didn't want to move to the city, then Finley Development's headquarters could be relocated to the island instead. "What do you think?" "I think I've run out of excuses." Laura beamed with joy, not the kind that came from completing Fiona's mission, but from genuinely helping Chip in a way that mattered. The morning dew filled the air with the scent of fresh grass and flowers. Their eyes met unintentionally, and a tender tension rose between them. They slowly leaned toward each other, just about to kiss. But a group of tourists suddenly walked by, breaking the moment, and they both burst into embarrassed laughter. Though no words were spoken, they both clearly understood what the other felt. When Chip saw his grandfather again, he asked in disbelief if the contract was real. "I always have. You've never wavered from your beliefs, and I want you to make this company exactly what you think it needs to be. It will be your company, your rules." As Chip signed his name on the contract, Laura's business trip officially came to an end. Just then, Fiona called. While congratulating Laura, she also brought even better news. Laura was about to become a partner at the firm. That very night, she was supposed to return to discuss the equity transfer with the other partners. But even as the long-awaited promotion was right in front of her, Laura hesitated. That evening, dressed in an elegant gown, she arrived at Graham's birthday party. Chip was full of joy, until Laura told him the reason she came was to say goodbye. Heartbroken, he stepped aside, and his grandfather followed closely behind to console him. He warned Chip that if he didn't seize this chance, history might repeat itself, and they could be separated for another 20 years. Then he pulled from his coat a drawing Chip had made as a child, the treasure map showing where the necklace was buried. With a flashlight and a shovel, Chip headed into the dark woods. He didn't even need the map. The location had been engraved in his heart all these years. But the moment he opened the box, the excitement on his face disappeared. Frantic, he rushed back to the hotel and asked around. When he found out Laura had already left, his heart sank. It wasn't in there. How did you know that? Because it's always been here. I don't understand. It turned out, on the very day the necklace was buried 20 years ago, Laura had secretly dug it up and had kept it with her ever since. I couldn't bear to leave it behind. To leave behind the only thing that reminded me of you. Maybe their childhood love hadn't been fully formed, but it had planted a seed in both their hearts, one that only blossomed 2 decades later. As they shared a kiss, the film came to an end.